Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Marichi Atri Angira Pulastya Pulaha Kratu Brigu Vashishta Daksha and the 10th son Narada were thus born. Purport. The whole process of the creation, maintenance and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation is meant to give the conditioned souls a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. Brahma created Rudra to help him in his creative endeavor, but from the very beginning Rudra began to devour the whole creation, and thus he had to be stopped from such devastating activities. Brahma therefore created another set of good children who were mostly in favor of worldly fruitive activities. He knew very well, however, that without devotional service to the Lord, there is hardly any benefit for the conditioned souls. And therefore he at last created his worthy son Narada, who is the supreme spiritual master of all the transcendentalists. Without devotional service to the Lord, one cannot make progress in any department of activity, although the path of devotional service is always independent of anything material. Only the transcendental loving service of the Lord can deliver the real goal of life, and thus the service rendered by Sriman Narada Muni is the highest among all the sons of Brahma. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai, Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So it is a bit embarrassing for me to speak in the presence of all the senior devotees, so please give me your blessings so I can say something that is going to please Srila Prabhupada and the Lord. Hare Krishna. So we see Lord Brahma, his service is to create this material world. He all of a sudden was born on the lotus flower, and around him was only darkness, as we can read in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he searches the length and breadth of the universe that has already been created by Lord Vishnu, glancing over the material energy, and then all this manifestation takes place, and then coming out from Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, the lotus comes and Brahma appears. So he comes down to the very bottom of the lotus, but he doesn't find anything except some water. And then finally he hears the 2 syllables, tapa. He has to perform austerities. And he does so, and eventually he attains the favor of the Lord, and he reveals him all the knowledge in 4 verses, which is known as Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. And then Brahma understands what he must do, and so he starts to create the whole material universe. But even though Brahma is such an exalted personality, it is not that all of a sudden everything came easy to him. He started to create, and then he created, we can see in this chapter first, he created the concept of death and this illusory concept of identifying with one's body. And he was actually very disappointed with his creation. And so he purified himself, and then he fixed his mind on the Supreme Lord, and he started to create again, and out of his creation came the 4 Kumaras. And then he instructed them, okay, now you have to expand this population of the universe, because it's just 5 of us. You have to populate the universe. But the Kumaras were not so inclined towards that. So they disobeyed the order of their father. And they said, no, we are not interested in engaging in anything in this material world. We are just going to meditate. They were Brahmavadis. They were not devotees, but they wanted to be transcendentalists. So naturally, I mean, those of you who have children know that when children talk back to you, you're not very happy as a parent. So Brahma, he became very angry at his sons. I also have some personal experience in this, because I have a sister that is 8 years younger than me. So I kind of got the experience of having to, take care of someone and maybe, instruct someone. And when she didn't listen to me, I would get very upset, obviously. Even though, there was no reason to on my part, because that was not my place to get so angry, then you start fighting, And that is the nature of this material world. And this anger, we know it comes from attachment. Dhyayato vishayan pumsan sthangateshu pajayate sangat sthanjayate kama krodot vijayate. That from contemplating the object of the senses, then lust develops. And from lust, when lust is not satisfied, anger arises. So we can see Brahma became very angry. But somebody could ask, if Brahma was a pure devotee of the Lord, I mean, he got a personal darshan of the Lord. That's pretty high in purity, I would say. Then why did he get affected by anger? Wasn't he supposed to be free from lust and all these lower modes of nature? But actually Brahma, he has to associate with the mode of passion, because he has to create this material world. So even though he's a very advanced devotee, sometimes he also gets affected. As we hear later on, he also got attracted to his own daughter. And that was a very big deal. So he also had to give up that body. And that body was taken by the demons afterwards. But anyway, so Brahma, he is also affected sometimes by the modes of nature. So he got very angry. And as we know from the next verse, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Krodat bhavati samoha, samoha smriti vibrama, smriti brahmshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. After anger develops, then forgetfulness comes. And then once you forget everything, then you fall back down into the pool of material existence. So, but Brahma's anger is not as bad as our anger. You know, if we get angry, then we forget everything. But from Brahma's anger, Rudra came. And, you know, we know, Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu. Even though he came from the anger of Brahma, still a guna avatar manifested, you know, as Lord Shiva. And then this Rudra, he was very eager to perform any sort of instructions that Brahma would give to him. So Brahma was now quite satisfied, and so he gave him all those wives and so on. But then another problem arose, because Rudra's purpose in this material world is to destroy. Because he wasn't given any other task at the moment, he just started to destroy the whole creation. And this creation hasn't even been properly created yet, from Brahma's point of view. So again, he had to call back Lord Shiva, Rudra, and he had to instruct him, okay, now relax, you know, your time will come, but for now you just perform austerities and penances and so on. And later on you will be able to destroy this material world. And then Brahma, finally, he created these 10 sons that we read about today. And here Srila Prabhupada describes in the purport that actually finally he created his worthy son, and that was Narada Muni. And all the other 9, here he says that they're more or less in favor of worldly fruitive activities. And one may ask, why is that not worthy? You know, why has to everything be for Krishna? Why everything has to be, you know, only worth it if you are a devotee of Krishna? We know that, you know, we can argue that if you want to enjoy, you know, your senses freely, we can see that slowly but surely you will very much degrade your existence. We can see those who really want to enjoy all the senses to the max. They go to the club or something, you know. I stay at Soho Street Temple these days. And, you know, the whole night you can hear them trying to have a party. But, you know, in the morning you can see the aftermath. You know, you walk to Mangalarati if you stay a little bit outside. And there is all this filth coming out from these bars onto the street. You know, people throwing up, people, you know, spilling alcohol everywhere. Some even pass stool in the street, you know. It's horrible. So this is very much degraded form of enjoyment. But then one could say, well, we don't need to just go that far. We can, you know, be religious, and we don't need to be so fanatic in terms of, you know, just giving everything for Krishna and like that. But then, you know, what sort of religious activities will you perform? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, those who worship the demigods, their intelligence or their knowledge has been stolen by their lusty desires. And they are considered less intelligent. And why is that? It is because with the demigods, everything is only business deal. With the demigods, you worship them for something and they give you something. And you have to be very strict in your worship. If you don't follow everything as it is prescribed in the injunctions, then you might get very serious reactions because you didn't hold up your part of the contract. But with Krishna, everything is based on love. Krishna gives you free will. There is no contract that you need to sign with Krishna, because contract means no love. So, with Krishna, you have free will. Either you're going to surrender to him or not. So, in the Bhagavatam, in the second chapter of the first canto, Srila Sutta Goswami describes Savaipum samparo dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasidyati. The only occupational duty that can satisfy the heart is devotional service to Adokshaja or Krishna. That is the only way that we will be fully satisfied. And it has to be performed unconditionally and uninterrupted. It has to be. Otherwise, you do a little bit of devotional service and then you go do some sense gratification. And then at that time, when you perform sense gratification, your heart will not be satisfied. But, then also there is another aspect that even though if we perform a little devotional service, this will never be lost. This credit that we achieve by doing that, it will never be lost. Because Krishna is eternal, and so his devotional service to him is also eternal. So it can never be lost, this sort of activity. And, Krishna describes, Niha bhikamana shasti pratyavayona vidyate svapamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That if we just make a small advancement, a small endeavor in devotional service, already this will save us from the greatest danger that can afflict us. And what is the greatest danger? Some could say that you glide down towards hell, that is the greatest danger. Or that maybe you go into the lower species of life, which is also hellish existence. But actually the greatest danger is to forget Krishna. That is the greatest danger. We see from the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that his devotees, like Haridas Thakur, they didn't care if they were in a body of an insect or a body of a dog, as long as they would have a chance to be associating or be in a house of the devotees and somehow or other hear the holy name and get some remnants of the prasadam that was, of the food that was offered to the Lord, and maybe even get some mahaprasadam from those devotees. That is the only desire of the devotee. He doesn't care if he is in the heavenly planets. He doesn't care if he is in the hellish planets, even if he is in the lower species of life, as long as he has the chance to remember Krishna. And that is real love. And we see in the pastime of Chitraketu, when he criticized Lord Shiva, he got cursed by Parvati to take birth in a demonic family as a great demon, Vritrasura. And then Parvati was very astonished that Chitraketu didn't retaliate in any way. He was actually very happy to take that punishment, because he knew that this was the desire of Krishna. And then Lord Shiva, it is described in that section of Srimad Bhagavatam actually, that he in a very mild way actually rebuked Parvati. He said, you shouldn't curse the devotees of the Lord. And then he said, Narayana parasarve nakutaschana bhibyate sargama pavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshina. That a devotee, he is equally satisfied if he is in Svargaloka or if he is in the hellish planets, Narakeshu. Because in both situations, he will continue with his devotional service. And we see that in the example of Vritrasura, how he very much continued his devotional service, even though his duty at that time was to fight with Indra. He was seemingly very how do you say that in English? He had great animosity towards Lord Indra. But then even in that fight, he was instructing Indra in the glories of, devotional service, and how he will, after his death, he will achieve the ultimate goal, Krishna. And then even Indra, he felt very much uncomfortable killing Vritrasura or even fighting with him, because he understood this is a great devotee. And at that time, he already performed so many mistakes, like killing Vishwarup, his spiritual teacher, and before that, even offending his spiritual master, Brihaspati. So at that time, this was, another one, now I have to kill a great devotee of the Lord. So, before he escaped the curse of, that came after him of killing a Brahmana by giving it to different living entities like the trees, the earth, the women, and so on, the water. I think that those are the four that he distributed his sinful reactions of killing a Brahmana. But this time, he already used that favor that he had with all those different living entities, and so he had to hide himself in the stem of a lotus from his reactions. So all these kind of pastimes happen all around the creation of Brahma, and they're all recorded in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But here it is said that Narada, he is the worthy son of Lord Brahma. Because, one could say, but, the Kumaras and Lord Shiva, they're also counted as Mahajans, or great devotees of the Lord. Brahma himself is counted as a Mahajan. Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Prahlada Janako Bhishmo Balir Vayasakir Vayam. This is the list of all the 12 Mahajans. So one could say, but then, he had already the Kumaras and Lord Shiva. These are already 5 sons, and they're all Mahajans. Why is then Narada listed as a worthy son of Lord Brahma? Because Narada's only occupation is to just travel all around the universe and spread the glories of Lord Krishna. His only occupation is preaching. He is a great preacher. He has many great disciples. Any spiritual master with such a track record as Narada Muni would be very satisfied. His disciples are like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, they all achieved perfection. Then he delivered 20,000 sons of Daksha. For that he got cursed. But anyway, this curse he took as a blessing because he could just continue traveling everywhere, all around the world. And, even Srila Prabhupada said that because he does this preaching work, he also gets some cursed by the parents of his disciples in the same way, so he cannot stay in any place for more than 3 days. So this is the only occupation of Narada Muni. If there was no Narada Muni, we would have no Srimad Bhagavatam. And what then would our fate be? So he travels all around the universe and just, Narada Muni, Bhajavina, Radhikaramana Namare. He just chants the names of Radha and Krishna. And even though he was such a proficient preacher, we can understand that actually bhakti itself, which here is described as the greatest activity and actually essential part of any other activity as well, it was not very widely known or accepted. There's even the son of Priyavrata, for example. Priyavrata was also another disciple of Narada Muni. The son of Priyavrata, he was not a pure devotee. He was desirous of attaining the Pitriloka. He wanted to go to the planet of the forefathers. So, Bhakti Yoga was not so widely available. It was more or less hidden. And it is described also in the 7th chapter of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that when Krishna came, this love of Godhead came with him, but it was sealed. It was not available so freely. But then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came again in the mood of Srimati Radharani. And then with his associates, he broke open the storehouse of love of Godhead. And then, only then, it became freely available to everyone. But now, if it's so freely available, how come it's only, a few hundred of us, or maybe, I don't know how many it's in the world now, maybe a few million, if that, of devotees. How is it that, not many take up this process? Well, it is hidden also in plain sight. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati sidaye yatadamapi sidanam kaschit manveti taptata. That out of many thousands of men, maybe one is interested in attaining the highest perfection. And out of many thousands of such men who have attained, perfection, maybe one is interested in devotional service. So we are very lucky that we got the contact, that we came in contact with this devotional service. And yes, it is the desire of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for us to get flooded and drowned in this ocean of nectar. But we are very expert at swimming. We are very expert at swimming. We don't want to just let go and just drown. We think that we will lose everything. Yes, we will lose everything material, but this material whatever we have is anyway temporary. It will be all taken when the time of death will come. It will all be taken away by force. So then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he employs his associates in educating us how to actually perform devotional service. I met the other day on the train, there was this one person who became very interested. He saw us, me and Harinamananda, we were on the train, and he saw us in this cloth. So he came to us and he asked us if we are Buddhist monks or Shaolin monks. So we said, no, we are Hare Krishna monks. He said, oh yeah, Hare Krishna. So you chant Hare Krishna, right? We said, yes, that's right. And he said, so tell me about this. What is going on here? What is the essence of your spiritual practice? And I said to him that we try to establish our relationship with God through chanting these holy names. And then his stop came already. It was very short discussion, plus the train, it's very loud on the train, you can't hear anything. So then he said, so this is it? This chanting Hare Krishna? Or is there any other sort of activities that you have to perform, any other process, or... And I said, yeah, there is other things you can perform also. But if you just chant Hare Krishna, that's enough. And he couldn't believe it, just chant Hare Krishna, that's enough. I said, yeah. And then he had to turn for confirmation to Harinamananda also. So Harinamananda said, yeah, that's enough. That's the perfection. That's what we are trying to achieve anyway. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. That is, according to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that's actually the mantra that we get initiated into, that we have to chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. So we get, by the mercy of the Lord, we get all these devotees who come and who teach us how to actually perform devotional service. And today is the day, the disappearance day actually, of Srila Rupa Goswami. And we are all Rupanugas, we follow Rupa Goswami, because he has given us so many books and so many instructions on how to perform devotional service. We get Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Upadeshamrita, all these wonderful books where it is very much in detail described how to perform devotional service. Where will we be without Srila Rupa Goswami? And then, of course, Srila Prabhupada, who came to the West and just presented this knowledge in such an accessible way, with the essence, just permeating through all his writings. You can't find basically 3 pages where Prabhupada is not writing about the essence of devotional service. He always just puts the focus there. And that's the, special mercy that Srila Prabhupada has given us, that we can clearly understand also the teachings of our previous acharyas. I was talking one time with one devotee from Gaudiya Math, and I saw that in his apartment he had also all the books of Srila Prabhupada. So I was surprised a little bit, and I said, oh, you're also reading Prabhupada's books? And he said, yes, of course, I'm reading Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada, he sacrificed his sleep just to write these books for us. He said that what kind of a devotee I would be if I wouldn't read these books. That would be, I would be very much ungrateful. He was from Austria, he's from Austria. So he's also a Westerner. So without Prabhupada, he also wouldn't be able to come in contact with Krishna consciousness. So I would like to end with this, that yes, we should just pray to Srila Prabhupada to achieve the favor of Srila Rupa Goswami. And through Rupa Goswami, we can achieve the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is non-different from Radha and Krishna. And because also we know Rupa Goswami in his original form is Rupa Manjari, who is doing everything, all the arrangements to just get Radha and Krishna together. Thank you very much. Any questions, any comments from the senior devotees? Yes, Mataji.
Very nice class. I really enjoyed it. I just want to make one comment.
Yes.
To add in that, very nice class. I just want to add one comment in that I think the devotees would like to hear. And it's about Lord Shiva, Lord Satshiva. When Krishna was needing someone to come and destroy the planet at the end of creation. And he went to Lord Shiva and asked him, will you do this? And Lord Shiva went, no, why do you want me to do this? And Krishna said, because you're the only person I can trust who will not leave one soul from getting lost at the time of destruction. And Lord Satshiva is known as as the greatest devotee because of this. And he accepted that role and came as Rudra to do this. But he came in that mood to serve his Lord, where he would not leave one soul, would not forget one soul, and save them all. I just wanted to add that. It was a lovely class.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Prabhu. Here.
Hare Krishna. You made the point that all we have to do is chant Hare Krishna.
Yes.
So why is it so hard to chant Hare Krishna? Why is it we find it still so hard, even if we're chanting our rounds, we want to watch TV, we're on our phone, we're talking on the phone?
Yes. Yeah,
Could you help us?
Every morning we recite the 10 offenses that have to be avoided whilst chanting the holy names. It is because of these offenses that we don't feel any change when we chant the holy names. It is said that once we chant the holy names, we're supposed to, just melt in ecstasy. But we can see that it's not happening. It's like our heart is steel framed. And that happens when, there is so many offenses from so many lifetimes, I guess, and even now. It said that it's also considered an offense to be inattentive whilst chanting. So even if we avoid all the other offenses, if we are still inattentive, that's an offense. And then all the other offenses just come upon us like an avalanche. So for that, how to get rid of all these offenses, because this is too loud, I think. Because, it is described that in Kali Yuga, we are like offense personified, It's not just that we're a little bit offensive, we're like just oozing with offenses. Just, it's our natural sort of way of behavior is to commit offenses. So our only hope is to take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada said that a little bit of taste will immediately manifest as soon as we chant the Panchatattva mantra. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. That is our only hope. Then the offenses will not be considered. But obviously we know that we have to put some effort in also to not commit the offenses. We know that from the story of Jagai and Madai. Jagai and Madai were delivered from all their sinful reactions, and then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned blackish, so he looked like Shyama Sundar. But then he instructed them that don't commit these sinful activities again. Just stay now pure, and then you will remain pure. And then he also instructed them how to gain favor from all those people who they heard. Even though, because they heard so many, they didn't know all of them. So then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed them that they should construct a bathing ghat and just ask forgiveness from every single one of the people that come bathe there. And then he also said that all these sinful reactions that he took away from Jagai and Madai, they will go to those who offend the devotees. So we should be very careful against this first offense to the holy name. Yes, I hope that somehow answers your question. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you for a wonderful class. I was wondering about spreading the glories of Krishna, and what about the ones that it doesn't reach? They are unfortunate enough not to have that voice or that word of Krishna. Does that mean they are not deserving? Because I think...
Well, if we analyze everything carefully, we can see that we are also not deserving of getting this mercy. Srila Prabhupada said, you had no qualification, I made your qualification to receive this devotional service. So it is only causeless mercy by which we were fortunate enough to get this holy name, received it. It is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. That only a very fortunate soul, after, traveling up and down the universe, the Brahmanda, and then only by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, this seed of bhakti, bhakti lata, can be planted in one's heart. So, you can say, yes, these people may be not deserving, but it is our duty, according to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to spread as widely as possible this holy name of the Lord everywhere. And this is actually also the process of achieving perfection in this age of Kali, is Harinam Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy names. It is not only that with our own, chanting of our japa or something, even though we chant the holy names, we will not achieve, the end result if we don't also perform Harinam Sankirtan. And that is very important. Even Indra Prabhu, he says, don't think that by this chanting and dancing you will not gain perfection. It is actually by this chanting and dancing that we gain the perfection that we desire. Because this is like, chanting of the holy name is putting Radha and Krishna together. And then when we dance in ecstasy in kirtan, we're like in, the most intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I hope that answers the question.
Just very, very quickly. Chanting and understanding offences, and like you said, we are offence personified, but we have a secret that Srila Prabhupada gave us. By coming under the guidance of Rupa Goswami, we obtain greed in our hearts. When you obtain greed in your heart, it can override the offences and give you a connection to all our Guru Varg in such a way that Sambandha Gyan will give us the joy and allow the holy name to bloom in our hearts. And we arise above the offences. And then Sudanam will come on our tongue. So it's very important that Sambandha Gyan is there, that we develop a greed in our hearts for our Guru Varg. And all of Rupa Goswami's teachings are in order for us to help us to develop that greed. And that can overcome everything. It's very hard to just get rid of offences because we only have to walk on an ant. Accidentally, we've made an offence. So the chanting, even in that state, is so incredibly potent. But even more than that, to actually feel it, on your tongue.
Thank you.
Is what we should achieve.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Okay, I will stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande.